Who cares what I think?
Moonjumper here, and welcome to Who Cares What I Think, sub-episode 7A-04, with a clip from part 1 of my 3-part deep dive analysis of Star Trek Lower Decks. 3 half-hour segments analyzing all of Season 1, what was great, what was not so great and needs some improvement, and I hope you'll check it out. But I want to play a brief clip I think holds up really well as a video on its own, taking a look at a history of various ground and sea vehicles utilized by Starfleet going back almost 50 years in Star Trek canon. No, that is not canon. Neither is that. Nope, that's Lost in Space. But I'm about to show you some cool Trek ground and sea vehicles which are canon. Roll the tape. The pilot episode also gives us a return of the Argo, the Jeep-like rover from Nemesis. That was a fun callback. And let me say something about the Argo. Nemesis, in my opinion, was a pretty dumb movie. It's kind of a toss-up which is worse, Nemesis or Star Trek V. It was that bad. In fact, I actually like Star Trek V better. But the Argo from Nemesis is not one of the things I complain about from that movie. The idea that you cannot have a wheeled vehicle in Star Trek is kind of silly. How is it that 24th century humans traversing miles of alien terrain on foot is somehow a mark of great advancement? Obviously, having some kind of ground vehicle available to you is not an insane idea, and it's also not unprecedented. We've seen Starfleet utilize a wheeled ground vehicle before in Star Trek's previous animated series. In a 1974 episode whose title I probably cannot say on YouTube, because it's 2020, free speech, so just look it up, but here's the vehicle. Now, to be clear, this was not a Starfleet vehicle. It was provided to them by a feline race called the Vidala, which, interestingly enough, is described as the oldest surviving spacefaring race known to the Federation at that time. So, this is a highly advanced species who had warp drive long before the Vulcans, long before the Andorians, Tellarites, or any Federation species up to that point. And yet the Vidala were using a wheeled all-terrain vehicle, possibly amphibious, which makes sense. It makes sense to have options when traversing miles of dangerous alien terrains.
We are orbiting the planet Argo.
The animated series also introduced Starfleet's Aqua-shuttle.
Will soon be undergoing similar transformations.
I suggest that we get these seawater and algae specimens.
Submerge, Lieutenant.
Which allowed the Enterprise crew to explore and study the oceans of planets they visited.
Dual respiratory system, lungs and gills.
And a Starfleet boat called the Scouter Gig. And don't forget the Delta Flyer was also shown to be amphibious. Exploring an alien planet solely on foot is not a sign of advancement, so I am perfectly cool with the Argo, and it was great seeing it in Lower Decks. And stop the tape. Folks, thank you so much, and I will leave links and end cards so that you can watch my full, in-depth, multi-part review and analysis of Star Trek Lower Decks, just in case you actually care what I think. From deep in the heart of Texas, I am Moonjumper.
Who cares what I think?